Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm about to read chapter 6, Meeting Jroub. I wake, feeling my arms had swollen overnight. Wait, I'm not in my room. The room I had fallen asleep in. The room was much bigger than the room Weiston and Akram have given me. Where am I? I pull my right arm up to place a hand over my forehead and notice that my skin is dark with black veins. When I hear a younger Kandari calling for me to wake up, I realize I'm seeing through Jroub's eyes for the first time. This dream almost had me convinced I was waking up. By looking up at his hand, I speculate that he's close to my current age. Or rather Jroub, looks down at his arms and starts rubbing them. Is it the pain in my arms I am feeling, or is his arms hurting as mine are in real life? Every move he wakes as I get out of bed seems to be as if they are my choices. It feels like I am moving or controlling his body. I feel like I am Jroub. The two things that keep me from believing this to be reality, beyond my unclear vision, is seeing his skin and hearing his voice as he calls down the hall to his mother. At times I can even hear his thoughts in a tone similar to his voice. His thoughts now confirm that he's experiencing the same pain in his arms I am, and for the same reason, too. The dream flashes, and I, or he, is making his way around to the back of the Libas home, walking against a fierce wind and rainstorm. A much younger and more brutish Rogar stands behind a female oaken elf with intan robes. I can tell by the design of those thick robes that the woman is some kind of mystic. Mystics are what they call their magic users. The two of them are near the head of the brown dragon carcass. The mystic casts a spell of purple light that encases her hand. Her magic shoots from her fingers like bottle rockets up into the sky above Rogar's dead dragon. The magic explodes into a flash of dust, then falls over and blankets the beast. When the iridescent specks sprinkle over the body, the dragon begins to appear a little healthier. It's not alive, but it's less pale and dull-skinned. I never thought about it yesterday, but this must be how they preserve the carcass so that Rogar can descale the dragon before decay sets in. Jroub is standing in front of his father and rubbing his aching triceps, while watching as Jroub bids farewell to the mystic. Rogar turns and raises a defined eyebrow. Dad, my arms, they hurt. I don't know that I can keep it up. Stop. I expected this. You won't be doing a lot with your arms today. We need you to allow time for your muscles to grow after a day like yesterday. So what am I doing today? I've loaded 3 of our wagons with dragon seals. Your task today is to take each of those wagons into town and drop them off at your mother's tanning tree. Alright, I'll go get the reavers. No, I want you to pull those wagons up the trail. Me? Yes. Today we're going to make your legs feel the way your arms do. If you are a Libas, you need to be built like one. Make me proud to call you my son. I can tell Rogar doesn't realize how harsh his words were. Jroub hides his hurt feelings behind an emotionless face and walks over to the first of the 3 small wagons that he's about to pull uphill a mile into town. I am not Jroub, though I can feel his self-esteem drop as if it were my own. These wagons are the shape of a 4-foot-tall egg that stands upright with an open top. The eggs are in a metal frame and remind me of a child's stroller. Brown dragon scales are inside the eggs and fill each to the brim. I watch Jroub harness himself to the wagon like a dog leash around his midsection. He drags the first heavy wagon all the way up the steep trail into town, and makes it to his mother's workshop. Tomorrow when I wake up, I can tell this will be my exhaustive task. Still, I'm happy to know my arms will be getting a break. The dream flashes again. It's apparent that Jroub is older by the height of his vision from the ground. The sky is dark and filled with many storm clouds. I'm standing at the edge of a clearing that's surrounded by trees. One giant tree stands at the center of the open field. The land has a light sheet, I don't want to say green, The land has a light sheet of snow that covers almost everything in sight. I turn around and set my eyes on a much younger version of Wyston. He is looking at me with an ornery grin. This Wyston is about 20 years old and appears more carefree. By the way his eyes widen in excitement, I sense this was a much wilder time in his life. Wyston pulls his bow from his back and readies an arrow. He couldn't be planning to shoot me, could he? No. Jroub feels safe and is happy to see him standing there. At this point, another man walks up to Wyston. He's an oaken elf that's dressed in gray robes. His brown hair ends at the center of his back, and his hair could almost be mistaken for a girl. However, I somehow know better. Seeing both of these men causes me to experience a short series of flashing images of the two at various ages. It feels like Jroub is experiencing the memories within my dream. When it's over, I sense these men are Jroub's closest friends, whom he grew up with. Wyston grins. Light me up, Jroub. The mystic places both hands over Wyston's arrow and closes his eyes. He chants a quiet series of humming noises, causing the arrow to glow white. Wyston aims straight upward, which directs Jroub to look at the sky. The vision focuses at a minuscule image of a dragon flying overhead. Wyston releases the flickering arrow, and it flies toward the beast. When the arrow approaches its maximum height, nearly ready to begin its descent back to the ground, it unexpectedly explodes with rays of white light and shoots forward with regained velocity toward its target. The luminescent dot hits the dragon, and there is an explosion that's much larger than I expected to come from it. With a faint roaring noise, the winged creature dives toward us. I watch both Jroub's scaled armored arms reach for something on his back. He brings two double-edged swords into view. Each sword is 3.5 feet total in length. What stands out about these weapons are their 12-inch handles. They are glossy white with rows of 3 jade stones going down each side. Around every jade, there is an elegant swirling design of crushed emerald stones. Gold frames with small divots line the top and bottom of each handle. The oddest detail about them is at the bottom of the handles. Each one has a 1/4 inch of the blade's metal extending out the bottom. This peaking metal has its own green tint. Whatever caused these vibrant shades of green, the colors match the stones on the handles. One tinted in jade, while the other is in emerald. My infatuation with Jroub's weapons will have to wait for now. Wyston and Jroub are retreating into the trees, leaving me alone in the clearing. The dragon's glimmering yellow eyes are making my body shake nervously. The beast is almost close enough to rain fire upon me, with small trails of smoke coming from its nostrils. Why isn't Jroub moving? I don't know why. Why isn't Jroub moving? The black monster opens its mouth, and I cannot tell whether it plans to gobble me up or shoot a fireball. Although soon it won't matter. In another 3 seconds, I think I'll be dead. Shot from behind me, a blaring explosion of blue energy hits the dragon. This sends the dragon off course, crashing against the single tree in the open field. After the thunderous crackling and explosive thud of the large tree hitting the ground, I turn back and spot Jroub and Wyston walking out of the woods. I spin my head back to the dragon as it's shaking itself off. The beast is close enough now that I can observe the individual U-curved scales on its fingers. The dragon focuses on me again, and it lets out a shrieking howl before trying to douse me in flames. I jump and roll out of the long trail of fire. Jroub looks back at his friends and snickers. Time for the bait to do the dirty work. He darts straight toward the dragon, and I watch another of Weisson's glowing arrows explode onto the beast's tail, taking its focus off of Jroub. Leave the smart work to us, Goldcrown, Weisson calls out. While the dragon turns to look at his attackers, Jroub is already in midair with both swords out, ready to strike. He holds the blades upside down in the same way Rogar taught both of us to hold them when cutting scales out. In a single fluid movement, he lands on the tip of the nose of the dragon and stabs it in both of his eyes with his blades. Blood splatters outward, drenching Jroub's arms. The beast cries out in pain, pushes off the ground with its front feet into a standing position, and arches its head back. I'm reading this a little wrong, but I think you get it. He basically jumped up on the nose, stabbed him in the eyes. This caused the dragon to stand upright, tilt its head back, and roar in pain. Anyway, while about to lose his footing, Jroub flips backward off of its nose. Now falling, I can tell that Jroub is at least 4 stories off the ground. As he descends back to the grassy field, I watch the dragon's neck scales grow into breast scales. The pattern becomes very clear that a straight line is dividing 2 sets of scales all the way down the center to its inner belly. With his left blade, he stabs into that groove. At the precise moment, he finds the middle of its chest. Jroub's mind tells me that he has pierced the dragon's heart. He takes his second blade and thrusts it halfway into the same groove, only a foot lower. Jroub pulls the first blade out of the heart and uses the second to slide down the belly. This slits the whole undercarriage open, only enough to peek through the thick skin between the scales and catch a tiny glimpse of its bloody organs. The dragon teeters, then falls on its side. Jroub turns to find Weisson putting an arrow back onto the leather sack on his back, while Jroub cheers with his arms out above his head. When the dream flashes this last time, it's of Rogar standing next to him. The dragon is dead behind them. It appears to be the next day because it is daylight out again. Rogar lays his arm across Jroub's shoulders, finally proud of his son. The townsfolk have gathered in front of him, cheering all 3 gamesmen for their kill. I wake from my dream and feel satisfaction that I had my first dream of the Libus hero. What's more is that I now have something to tell Weisson about. Shame on him for not telling me they were his friends. I lay here, reminded that my arms are aching, and soak in all that I experience. I pull my hand up to my head, and I'm almost surprised when I notice the white skin of my arm. I had gotten used to the idea that I was a Trent elf. After getting my clothes on, I walk to my father's leather coat to touch the sleeve like I do every morning before I go down the hall. This morning, however, I realized something I hadn't before. The 6 black metal strips on the back of each arm aren't metal at all. They have the same shape as the scales I saw. I'm sure you can hear that. Give it a second. I'm right next to a church today, so I hope you're getting it with all the little parts that I've stuttered on, but I don't remember how many times it does it. Anyway, if you can hear me, just so you guys know, in case you're curious, my weight is at 290. I usually do that on different videos, but I figured I'd talk about something. Okay, back to the story. We just got to the part where he had just woken up and he's soaking it all in. Oh, yeah. This morning, however, I realized something that I hadn't before. The 6 black metal strips on the back of each arm aren't metal at all. They have the same shape as the scales I saw on the black dragon's fingers. I now realize that all the plating had come from a black dragon. This proves my father had been to this planet. When I meet Akram in the den, she's unaware that I'm behind her as she bends down to gather her sandals. After she stands up, I muster enough strength to lift my arms up to hug her and apologize for my attitude the night before. When I pull away, she turns and smiles at me. Weston comes down the hall into the den and spots us. I thought about telling him of the dream right then and there, but out of respect, I instead gave him his quiet morning. Later that day, I arrive at the Libas home and walk toward the rear of the tree. As I do, I witness a lavender-colored flash from around the barked wall. Then I spot Rogar waving goodbye to a mystic who has sprinkled her magic dust over the green dragon that we worked on yesterday. I find the egg-shaped wagons waiting for me, and Rogar turns in my direction with his hands up at his hips. I can tell by his face that he is waiting for me to complain about my arms the way Jroub did in my dream. I don't give him the satisfaction. I smile and walk over to the first of my 3 wagons. He gives me an amused expression before returning to his own business. Do you know where to take them round here? Yes, sir. He glances at me with his personalized raised right eyebrow. When I make it to Kandari's workshop, she greets me at the entrance with a cloth tied over her nose and mouth. The odor from inside the tree is acrid, like that of a skunk. My nostrils flare and Kandari laughs at me. It's the oils we use on the scales. Why would you want them to smell that way? We use it to fill in the cracks and scratches. So then you polish them. What is polish? Oh, never mind. She looks back at me with curiosity. Then she goes to touch her teardrop tattoo with the same pointer finger as before. I know what that means. Yes, I did have my first dream of Jroub. You did? You must tell me everything you saw, she demands in excitement. I tell her of my dream, and she appears pleased. I keep my talk with her short as I have 2 more wagons to retrieve. She hands me another bag of freshly cut leaves, and I am on my way. A few hours later, I am walking back down into the Libas meadow to return the last of the 3 wagons. My legs are cramping, and I try to hide it from Rogar, who's in the backyard. He takes a break from descaling the dragon and turns to scan my worn body. His head bobs up and down with his right hand pulling at his thick chin hair. Do you know what I have planned for you tomorrow? Not a clue, Mr. Libas, I answer. I wish my dream had given me that information so I could surprise him again. I want you to relax. Take a break. Your body isn't conditioned yet, which means your arms won't be ready tomorrow. That doesn't mean I want you working somewhere else, though. I want you off your feet as much as possible. Just spend an hour throughout the day to stretch. 1 full hour, no less. Yes, sir. He smiles. I told you that you'd get more training if you were here with us. Yes, you did. I'm sorry I doubted you. Later, when I approach the table where my family is sitting at, Castanea waves to me in her dorky way. Sierra glares at our sister, annoyed, before turning back to me with a small, pleasant smile. I plop down on my log and turn to Weston. Have you had a good day, Dragon Hunter? Did you get a lot of smart work done? Huh? Why didn't you tell me that you were best friends with Mr. Goldcrown? Goldcrown? Now that's a name I haven't heard in years. You had your first dream, Akram asks. Who is Goldground? Sierra adds. Tell us, Castaneda demands while bouncing in her seat. Yeah, Wyston and this other guy, Jasaru, were best friends with Jroub. They grew up and hunted dragons together. Jasaru? You saw him? Akram asks, with a tear dropping down her cheek. I'm emotional. I get emotional sometimes when I read my own stuff, I guess. Yeah. Should I not talk about him? No. Please, tell me about him. How did he look? Akram pleads. Those words make Wyston appear uncomfortable. Honestly, he was kind of girly, I answer, and Wyston begins to chuckle from his belly. He was a pretty man, she says with star-crossed eyes. The expression is enough to stop Wyston's laughter. Akram giggles at him. Oh, stop. You know I love you. He was my first love, and you are my last. That's what matters. Wyston looks embarrassed. Jasaru was our blood father, Sierra tells me while glancing at Castanea. Casta and Sierra were just babies back then. Wyston searched for Jroub's body so we could bury him, but Wyston couldn't find him. Later, Wyston took up Jasaru's fathering responsibilities as a last gift to him. Wyston grins. Well, not only for that. Wyston was always a little jealous. I loved your mother back when she was just a little younger than you girls, Wyston tells my sisters. I was about Nate's age. Wyston places an arm around Akram, and she displays a warm smile. We finish our dinner and head home for the night. I pull out tonight's sample of the new the new leaves, and take in the aroma. I eat and head to bed, hoping some dream will steal me away again for the night. I think about the dream and wonder how I was so lucky to have a dream about the pain in his arms, like the pain I have in mine. Staring up the ceiling, I remember the painting I had found the day before in the Libus Den. It's obvious that the painting was inspired by the day he killed that dragon. It was practically a picture of the moment Rogar acted proud of him. Maybe looking at that painting and feeling the pain in my arms triggered the dream to play out the way it did. When I drift off to sleep, Jroub is waking up When I drift off to sleep, Jroub is waking up. The same wooden bridge is hidden. When I drift off to sleep, Jroub is waking up. The same wooden bridge is hidden. Bridge into the hidden cave. I have a misspelled sentence here, a miswritten sentence here. I gotta fix. Oh, it's not. I keep saying waking. It's walking. When I drift out of sleep, Jroub is walking up the same wooden bridge into the wooden cave that the townsfolk had presented to me the night I arrived. I experience flashing visions of him making his way through the cave. I see the glowing bats hanging from the low ceiling and the spiral staircase, just as I remember them from my own trek. He steps onto the same platform, and it starts to rise, except it's taking Jroub on a different route than the one it took Wyston and me through. He arrives in a dark candlelit room. The candles are arranged on the floor in a large circle, about 10 feet away from where the platform rests. Large sheets of green cloth drape from the ceiling to the floor, creating a transparent wall around the candles. While looking through the cloth, I see a small, shadowy figure of a child sitting in the center of the room. Priestess? Why did you bring me to this room? I usually meet you in your study. This is my meditation room, and it is my favorite room in this tree. I've never shown this room to anyone because it's sacred to me. I want to give you a last gift, a by bringing you here to see it. A last gift? He asks. He walks through the cloth and sets his eyes on the same young girl that I had once met. She is younger, at about 5 years old, but is otherwise exactly how I remember her, with her long red hair and white robes. Her empathetic face gazes at me, at Jroub, and he can tell something is wrong. As a person who can see the future, it's my responsibility to keep certain details a secret. There are many things people wouldn't want to hear, things that would scare the public if they knew without reason to understand it. Jroub, you're the Vane's greatest hero, and you have served me well. For that, I want to give you this last gift. Of showing me this room? No, not only to show you this room. That's just part of this gift. I'm going to break that important responsibility I spoke of and tell you something that I feel you deserve to hear. I'm sending you on a mission that will be your last, says the priestess while trying to fight back tears. Am I going to die? Yes, you're going to die. If I know I'm going to die, why would I go on this last mission? It is your fate, your destiny. Your death is important to the success of the future. Without that step, everything will be in jeopardy. Why did you think I would want to hear this? I am giving you the chance to say goodbye to your family, to your friends, to enjoy your last days with us. Jroub can't find the words to respond and fights to keep his composure. There is one other thing I must tell you. Your family and the people of Vane will never know what truly happened, or what truly killed you. Will never know who truly killed you. Your death will always remain a mystery to everyone except me, your killer, and the one who will one day experience your memories. Can you tell me who my killer is? He asks in a deep voice. I cannot. To tell you would be to take something important would be to take away something important to you. You cannot understand it now, but I am doing this for you. Her twinkling eyes are showing endearment. I mean no disrespect, but this makes no sense. You may never understand it, however, there is an important reason for everything I do. I sense Jroub's thoughts. They are that of anger. I can feel that he respects and loves the priestess, but his lust for the killer's name is making his blood boil. Behind his firm lips, he's grinding his teeth in anger. The priestess walks up to him, wraps her little arms around his waist, and lays her head against his stomach. This, however, doesn't calm Jroub at all. I must know who kills me, Jroub's conscience screams out. I wake up and feel that my arms continue to be sore. Although my legs hurt worse. I'm just reading that wrong, but oh well. I cringe as I try to stretch. I think I am in so much pain that I could die. With no warning, that last thought pierces me like a bullet, and I remember what I had just experienced. My focus returns to a single question. Who killed Jroub? I believe that's where it ends. Yes. So that was chapter 6. I'm sorry it's a little bit late. I know that was actually due this time last week, and I even said that I was going to record it the following day, and then that day came and freaking got called into work, and I wasn't prepared for that, so I couldn't do the recording for you. I'm at a new location. The spot that I was doing before, I'm not going to be there anymore. That location is closed down. I'm getting used to the new site, and it's got a whole different layout of what I got to do for this job. So anyway, as I said when the bells were tolling, I'm at 290. I will probably make a separate video at some point go overweight. But yeah, I did just have a really great cheat meal on a date. It was planned. I planned it, so I may not actually be 290 today. I weighed myself yesterday at 290, but that's all right. I had been doing pretty good overall. Yeah. So, all right, guys. I will talk to you later. Stay motivated. Bye.